Hello everybody out there, it's me Ghost Critic with number 5 in the series of the Marvel's Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection that we get over here in the UK. And this time they're collecting Amazing Spider-Man Birth of Venom. Now this was... it's actually a difficult collection to read, and it's nice in the editor's notes that they do actually kind of apologise for this, and my review of this book will kind of explain and kind of elaborate more on this, but with a whole wealth of, you know, Venom stories right from the very beginning when he was kind of created. It must have been very difficult to put a collection of stories relating to the birth of Venom. Personally, I don't think they did a very good job. There is nothing wrong with any of the issues within this collection. I just don't think it properly represents its title. Let's kind of go into it a little bit. It starts off with Amazing Spider-Man 252, and this is Peter in the new black costume, returning to Earth from Secret Wars for the very first time, and it's a kind of almost light-hearted issue. You would think he, you know, coming back to Earth after being torn away, kidnapped by the Beyonder to take part in the Secret Wars, that when he got back he would just be going to everyone he knew, all his family, you know, his friends, you know, making some sort of excuse why he's been gone so long. But it doesn't happen. It's kind of an insulated story, I guess, where he is flying around, webbing around the city, using his new costume, which he's still, you know, obviously getting used to the fact that, you know, it's clearly got a mind of its own. And he comes across these two teenagers who are having an argument and saying how crappy the city is, while the other one is saying, you know, they really like it, they want to stay here. So, for some reason, Spidey just like grabs them both, takes them to the highest point of the city, and just says, look, okay, this city isn't perfect, but it is our city, it's my city, I love it, there is so much there to appreciate. And I do think, you know, this is the kind of... Peter's happy to be back home, this is where he belongs. It's kind of all the things that happen in Secret Wars, and the potential that he may not, none of them, not just him, may have never come back and have died then. It was just him appreciating coming home. So it was kind of nice. So yeah, that's where the collection starts. It then jumps to issue 256 and does a run to 259. And this involves quite a lot of characters. We've got the introduction of a new villain, Puma, who's this kind of assassin for hire, who the Rose, who's trying to overthrow the Kingpin as, you know, the head of the criminal element within the city. He's taken it upon himself to hire Puma to kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going around ruining all his seedy operations, you know, the drugs, the casinos, etc. And obviously Rose has had enough. So he goes behind Kingpin's back, hires the Puma to get rid of him. It doesn't really go to plan, as you could imagine. And it's just a new villain for Spider-Man. All through this, yes, he's in his black costume, but you don't really get to see the implications of him and his costume, what it can do. He gets absolutely trounced by Puma, and it's only the kind of rescue from his now lover, Black Cat, Alicia, who saves Peter Spider-Man right at the last minute. So towards the end of this run, we get Hobgoblin come in, working alongside Puma. What else do we have? All through this time, I mean, obviously there's a big leap from 252 to the run of 256 and 259, but in all this time, you know, Spider-Man hasn't really found out much about the black costume. He knows it's pretty freaky, it responds to his thoughts, it can mould and morph into just like his regular clothes, so this makes it a lot easier for him to kind of change between his street persona of Peter Parker and obviously Spider-Man. But he doesn't actually know a lot about it. So who's he going to go to? Obviously, Reed Richards, the man of science. And it's the big reveal here is, you know, it's actually a living being. It's in itself. It's an alien symbiote. It's trying to graft itself onto Peter. And this creates loads of alarm bells. They manage to get it off him and seal it in a presumably impenetrable, you know, glass reinforced cage kind of thing. But as we know, things like that never stay sealed for long and it escapes. Again, in this kind of 256 to 259 issue run, they throw in, you know, the big Mary Jane tells Peter that she knows he's Spider-Man, even though he tries his best to deny it, but eventually they come to an agreement, you know, the whole I didn't want to put you in danger, I didn't want to put your life in danger. So they obviously come closer, which Black Cat doesn't like either, because, like, you know, she's the new love of his life. So then it jumps, and we get to issue 1 of Web of Spider-Man. And this comes, I'm not sure of how long it was. There's probably a lot of issues between 259 and Web of Spider-Man issue 1. But we have the black suit finding Peter again and taking over his body and, you know, desperately trying to, you know, graft itself and become permanently one with Peter. So we have this kind of hilarious scenes of Peter trying to make it back to the Baxter building to get Reed Richards to take the suit off him again, but the Venom, sorry, not the Venom, the black symbiote costume is definitely taking more of a control and stops him. But at the same time, we have these kind of vulture-light villainous group trying to take Spider-Man down at the same time. So it's kind of funny, the whole trying to get to the Baxter building, trying to fend off these vulture-like characters, and it eventually ends with the classic bell tower scene where Spider-Man finally gets the suit off through like the sonic sound waves of the bells clanging. You know, this is endangering his life because the sound is so, you know, so loud and vibrates him and he passes out, but this also removes the symbiote. And then again it jumps again. We're now on to Amazing Spider-Man 300. And a lot has happened between these two issues. Peter's now married to Mary Jane. She's now a model. She's earning a lot of money. To the point where she can now afford this penthouse suite in the middle of the city which they moved to. And this is where we get a kind of, I guess, a backstory about how Brock took on the Venom or became Venom, grafting himself to the black symbiote. And this is kind of the problem I had with this whole collection. In kind of James Bond style story kind of arc, that they have the big battle. Brock's been following Spider-Man, trying to find out where he lives, and, you know, have this big smackdown, which they do have. And, you know, just as, you know, Venom gets Spider-Man on the rocks, he decides to tell him, you know, how he took on the Venom suit, that it is actually Brock under there, why he hates Spider-Man so much. And, you know, just like I said with the James Bond villain explaining why he's killing James Bond, or, you know, his plans that he's due to overtake the world, you know, just kill him. Just kill him. Stop waffling on, and just, you know, that final blow. It was very akin to that, which kind of made me laugh through it. So, yeah, you kind of get the origin, I guess, of how Venom found Brock and why he chose Brock so much. Obviously, they both have an immense hatred for Peter Parker. The overview does pick up a lot of what happened in Spectacular Spider-Man and the whole Sin Eater storyline, where Brock thought he had found the guy who was doing all these murders, but in fact it was just this compulsive liar who, you know, admits to any kind of felony. And unfortunately it was Peter that, as Spider-Man obviously, who found out who the real Sin Eater was. So Eddie Brock is completely humiliated. He loses his job, loses his, I think it was his girlfriend or his wife, and he's basically on the rocks, and he vows vengeance. So this is where I thought it would have probably been a better idea to maybe miss out the whole 256 to 259 run of Amazing Spider-Man, as it really didn't, you know, have anything much to do with the black costume and Venom, and they could have planted, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man and the Sin Eater story in there instead. I don't know. I kind of remember reading the Amazing Spider-Mans when they originally came out, but I don't have them anymore, so I can't remember how it all kind of played out, because like the collection says, there is a lot of stuff that goes on over like 50-60 issues, where Venom, you know, is part of it, and the black costume is part of it, but to tell it all and get it all in there would have made this a far thicker volume and probably way more expensive. So, like I said, there is nothing wrong with any of the stories in here. They are all great Spider-Man stories, but just as a collection under the banner of Birth of Venom, not the ideal selections. Still enjoyed it. It's still it was nice to go back to this kind of era. So yeah, usual extras within the book. The kind of montage, if you can see that, it's not very well shown on this. Montage on the front and back of the inside cover. You do get another story so far, so it does let you know about the Secret Wars and how he got the costume originally. You have all the original covers also, so that's 252. And let's jump on a bit. We've got Web of Spider-Man issue 1 cover. So you have all the covers for them, which is nice to have. It's not just one long big story. You have 2-page Origins of Venom with some little captions in there as well. The writer, Tom DeFalco, which is this amused me because they use on the front David Michelin and Todd McFarlane as the creators of this run of Birth of Venom, when in fact they're only on Amazing Spider-Man issue 30, issue 300, sorry. Artist gallery, lots of different types of Spidey costumes. And finally the further reading section. And I usually just breeze over this, I don't even bother looking, but if I'd been paying more attention, I would have seen some upcoming volumes that are coming out in this series, ones that I didn't know they were doing. So sometime down the line they're going to do Spider-Man Blue. They're going to put out Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt. And also The Mighty Thor, which is they're collecting The Last Viking. So I'm going to have to go. I've been going back to all the other books that I've got on the shelf and looking to see what else they're bringing out. They're putting a lot of Spider-Man titles on this, which is a shame because there's a whole host of other characters they can use. So hopefully, you know, they won't just keep sticking with, you know, the tried and tested, you know, their kind of flagship title, I suppose. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is, and it's probably a big seller. So that's another Ultimate Comics wrapped up. The next one is Thor Reborn, which was the last time Thor was not rebooted but started again with an issue 1. I have to say I did collect them in singles, so this is basically going to be a reread, and it wasn't really that long ago that they came out, so it's going to be a quick read for me. I'm not sure how I'm going to review that. But anyway, that's it. Time's up. Another Ultimate Comics graphic novel collection in the bag. I hope you're still enjoying them from the hits I've been getting. You seem to be. And comment as you would normally do. Thanks guys. Bye bye.